Good morning, welcome to part 4 of this melodeon restoration. In the previous little films, I had a look at the whole thing. I looked at the keyboard, which had some issues. I've made the bellows airtight by fixing the corners and put some new bellows corners on as well. So it's all come together quite well. The keyboard on the old one was like this, which I took off and had some nasty cracks where the keyboard screws were screwing through into the keyboard itself. Had some damage to the top where the wood was quite fragile. Had some nasty holes on the bottom where somebody had put a little thumb strap on. So altogether that was pretty damaged. So what I've done, I ordered a new one which has come, and this one came from CGM Musical in Scotland. And it's made of plastic rather than wood, so it fits in differently. So rather than wood screw going into the keyboard to hold it in place, it's got a little bolt that bolts into a little nut which is recessed into each end of the keyboard. So it's actually quite a nice way of fitting it on. So I'm going to actually fit this up, have a look at it on the melodeon and just see how well it fits and see if it fits well or whether any adjustments might be needed. So let's have a little look. So I'm going to just take off the treble side, and I've already taken the pins out and put that to one side, and then inside you've got two holes here in there where I'm going to put the bolts through, and then I'm going to one thing I have done, when the bolts came, oopsie, just dropped one. They came without any little washers or anything, it's just a little bolt. So I've just put a couple of washers onto the bolt because that just gives you a nicer mate between the head of the bolt and the wood inside there. So I just think it's better, kind of spreads the load a little bit and makes it a better fit. So I put a couple of washers onto those little bolts. So I'll just put the bolts in a little bit through the hole, and then we'll have a look how it fits. So there we go, the bolts are through, and then what I can do then is just slide the keyboard on. You have to kind of wiggle it from side to side just to get it to go past the little bits of plastic. And one thing I have forgotten, silly me, actually easier to take off the grill before you do this. Take that off. So you can just wiggle, there we go. I'll wiggle the new keyboard on, and then I'm going to locate those little screws, or little bolts really, with my screwdriver, and just screw them in and see how well the keyboard's actually fitting over the buttons. Just need to get this one, I'll just get a little cross head, screw these in. In. There we go. Put them up nice and tight. The reason getting them tight so it fits as tightly as it will fit in normal use. Tighten them up. There, the keyboard's on. Now, if I'm looking very carefully at the keyboard, what I can see, I don't know if I can show you this a bit better, is that there's a bit of a gap between the button and the hole the button's going through. And what that tells me is this whole keyboard here needs to come in towards the main part of the melodeon by about a couple of mil. So this plastic bit needs to sit about a couple of mil further that way, so that the button is sitting centrally in the hole of the keyboard. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this, but I think the easiest way of doing this is just to take away a little bit of the wood where the bolts are going through and attaching to the plastic keyboard, by just making the middle, taking a bit off, sanding it down a bit, so that the keyboard sits about 1 or 2 mil further inbound, if you like. So if I just remove those screws again, take those out. And take that one out as well. Take those out for a second. Take the keyboard off. Yeah. Give it a wiggle. Take that off for a sec. So here, there and there is where the bolts are going through these points and then going into the keyboard itself. And because I want the keyboard to sit a bit further this way, that way, I need to make this point and this point a bit further in. I've got to take it back a bit. So I'm going to get some sandpaper and I'm going to carefully take off a little bit of that surface, just here and here, and bring it in a little bit, and then offer up the keyboard again until I've just got the buttons going exactly through the middle of the holes. The holes are ovalized, which is quite good. It gives you a little bit of leeway either way, so you've got a little bit of kind of tolerance there. But I'm going to just take a little bit off the points here and here with some sandpaper until I get that fit of the keyboard exactly over the buttons, so they go nice and in the middle of the buttons, if you like. So I'll do that next. So I'll close the video, I'll just get it sanded down and checked, and then I'll have another video showing how it's all fitted. Okay, right, so I've had a little go with this, so I'm going to fix on the keyboard back on. I've taken a little bit off the little faces where the bolts were going through, where it fitted against the keyboard itself, so I'm going to carefully wiggle this on. Like so. So that's all carefully eased over the white keys, and I'm going to just put the little bolts in. See if I can get those to engage. Put that one in. Just tighten them up. Sorry, that one didn't go in quite so easily. Just lining up the holes is a little bit tricky. There we go. So I'm going to tighten them up. There we go. So I've got the keyboard fitted and the gaps are looking a lot better. I might make some final adjustments to it, but that's basically fitted really nicely. So that's on. I know that fits. The grill can go back on. Here we are. So now that's working a lot better. So then I can just, if I just put it back on to the melodeon. There we go. So that's now looking a lot tidier. So that keyboard is behaving itself. It's all fitting nicely. Looks a lot better. It should be nice to play. And then, so just having that all whacked together on the melodeon makes it look a lot neater. I've also done a little bit of work. I've kind of fixed this piece of finishing off here. So I've glued that and polished it a little bit to get that back on. And I have polished the grill a little bit so that overall this melodeon is getting there, it's getting better. So the next step is I'm going to actually finish off the bellows. So in the next video what I'm going to do is going to tackle some of the issues with the actual bellows tape. You can see there's a little bit here. So there's kind of some damage to the bellows tape on here. And then particularly on the back there's quite a lot of bellows tape damage. So I'm going to take some of the bellows tape off and refit some new bellows tape and neaten everything up. But the bellows themselves are kind of quite airtight. It's just kind of tidying them up, really making them look nicer and tidier. So in the next little video I'll go through the steps of retaping the bellows. I've also removed this bit of veneer because that was broken anyway, and I've ordered a new bit. In fact, I've got it here. Here we go. Yeah. So I ordered a new bit of veneer. How exciting is that? So that's come from CGM as well. So I'm going to cut that to size. It's a really good match for the old finish, which is nice. So once I've cut it and shaped it and then glued it and clamped it on, I think that's going to be a really nice finish to that bit, so that everything looks a bit neater and tidier. So I'll do that as well. So, but for now, this old girl is looking a lot better. She's looking happier. She's got a new keyboard. Some of the finish has been sorted out. The bellows are airtight. So it's all looking quite good. So see you next time.